Hello, and thank you most kindly for joining us tonight on Daily Politics, your destination for everything about politics. I'm Hamza Idris. Let's capture some developments in the polity. The Supreme Court on Friday dismissed the suit of the 13 states challenging the constitutionality of the law that established the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The seven-man panel of justices led by Justice Wani Abaji, in unanimous decision, dismissed the suit for lacking in merit. The suit, which was initially instituted by attorneys general of 16 states, saw the scrapping of the anti-graft agency. While some states withdrew from the suit, others asked to be joined as co-plaintiffs. The states that initiated the suits include Ondo, Edo, Oyo, Ogun, Nasarawa, Kebbi, Katsina, Sokoto, Jigawa, Enugu, Benue, Anambra, Plateau, Cross River, and Niger State. And on a side note, the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tori Lagbaja, was laid to rest in Abuja, ending an illustrious military career that spanned decades. At the burial, President Bola Tinubu conferred a posthumous national honor on the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tori Lagbaja, who died last week after prolonged illness. The burial took place at the National Military Cemetery in the nation's capital, marking an end to 2 days of funeral rites that began in Lagos earlier in the week. President Tinubu led several dignitaries and top government officials who attended the event. Well, some updates there. Now let's unpack our talking points on daily politics. The National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu is in the news following his remarks on President Tinubu's efforts in the ongoing war against terrorists in the northern part of the country. Ribadu said the situation in the country has improved and Nigerians can travel everywhere without fear. The NSA spoke at the Comptroller General of Customs Conference in Abuja on Wednesday, emphasizing the president's determination to eliminate bandits, terrorists, and other security threats. Let's hear from the horse's mouth.
Many things that we want to call tinubu games, changes taking place, reforms. From now, going forward, Nigerians are going to see things. Already, a couple of things are happening. And that's why I'm happy to see our own general leading many others here. For the first time in our country, the entire security sector, leaders are working as one. Intelligence community, civil police, all others, I want to assure you, tell Nigerians that for the first time, maybe ever, more than ever before, we work as a team. One. And we are beginning to see the gains, what we call tinubu gains. Hundreds of bandits are killed today, every day. Tinubu gains. You move everywhere in our own country today, free of fear. Tinubu gains. Things are changing. These so-called Lakurawa, or whatever you call them, they are making a mistake. Nobody ever dares Tinubu and win. Nobody. They have come at a wrong time. Nobody has ever defeated Tinubu. And you are going to be defeated. And we will kick you out of Nigeria. This is a Nigeria of 2024. And this is a Nigeria where I can assure you the critics will be quiet. One after the other. Things will change in our country. And it's already changing. Many parts of our country today is living in peace. Go to the Niger Delta. Things have changed. Today, we have gotten to 1.8 million barrels of crude oil. We have not seen this for a long, long time. Tinubu gains. Southeast is getting to be at peace with itself and with the rest of our country. Bandits are running left, right. Every single day we are getting people who are surrendering. I was talking with the general. As of today, even right now, we have places where we are receiving surrendered bandits.
Well, that was National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. But his comments on the improvement of the security situation in the country is eliciting debates among Nigerians, especially where he mentioned that you can drive to any part of the country without security and without any fare. Is there evidence to prove that Nigerians can travel anywhere in the country without security threat? And who are the Lakurawa terrorists that have made life unbearable for people in local government areas of Sokoto and Kebbi State? Tonight on Daily Politics, we are going to engage security experts and analysts to review the situation across the country. We are joined virtually a security consultant, Dr. Kabiru Adamu, the Chief Executive Officer, Beacon Security and Intelligence Limited. We also have virtually Major Yahaya Shinko, retired military officer. And here in the studio, we have Abrak. He's a hostile environment journalist. I'm much into the program. Viewers, you can also join the conversation from wherever you may be watching this episode through telephone lines so that you can also contribute to the program. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Yes, Dr. Kabiru, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Yes. Good evening.
Oh, all right. Of course, we have some talking points before we go into the main topic of the day, especially the issue of the Supreme Court that, dismissed the case by governors, some governors, of course, who wanted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to be scrapped. What will you say on this judgment by the Supreme Court?
Well, it's quite commendable. The role of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is one that is instrumental, given the impact of corruption on the country, and that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is one organization that has played a significant role. In spite of all its challenges, we believe that its existence is better than its non-existence. We also felt that the circumstances of that suit by the states was questionable. We are all living witness to the fact that the agency, the commission, is after the immediate past governor, Kogi State. And as far as I understand, Kogi State was the lead state that joined in that suit before the other states joined. So it appears that it was a case of the hunter, or the hunted rather, coming after the hunter. And it gathered momentum when I think about 15 other states joined before 3 others withdrew from the case. So it would have been a shame, and I think embarrassment to our national integrity if the courts had to continue with that case, and if eventually those state governments would have pursued. Now, that's not to say that there are no irregularities within the EFCC. There are irregularities, and those irregularities to be checked. And I think the onus is on the Attorney General of the Federation now to rise up to the occasion, check those irregularities, make sure their operations are not in any way affecting human rights. There are instances when, in fact, the normalcy for the EFCC is to abuse your human rights and then use that to get you to confess. No security operation, no law enforcement agency should operate in that manner in modern times. They should adopt technology, they should adopt investigative techniques that allows them to make sure they have a watertight case before they invite suspects to it. But in summary, I believe their existence is better than them either cancelled or banned, as it were, which is what the governors wanted.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Kabiru Adamu. Now over to Major Yahaya Shinko. Okay, what is your take? What next for the EFCC now that they have won in a way at the Supreme Court? All right, yeah, it's like we are trying to, he's trying to join us. Then over to you. Yes, the governors in the first place, do you think it's really good that they went to Supreme Court to checkmate the powers of EFCC and to scrap them?
I think the last speaker, Mr. Kabiru, has pointed that out. It's some kind of, it would have been an embarrassment, to say that we have a body that checks the financial management, of political holders of finances in Nigeria, and that at the end of the day, governors will come together and try to get it scrapped. It will give us a certain reputation, especially knowing, the histories about financial management in Nigeria. We should have an agency, that will oversee that and ensure that monies are expended judiciously. And in the first place, why would the governors worry over an issue, that is quite preventable? If you go to your office, go to your state and manage your funds judiciously, why do you have to worry about EFCC? It's like the saying that some people say in Hausa is that garami.
Yes, when there is none. So if they are prudent and all that, they shouldn't have anything to do with the FCC. Yes. Okay, all right. Now, the burial of Lagbaja, briefly, he has been laid to rest, but you can see the tributes around this gentleman.
Yeah, it goes ahead to show how honorable he was, how disciplined he was, and how committed he was, to serving his country. And it is something of emulation, from not just the people in uniform, but also to all Nigerians. But while I was watching that and I was asking myself this question, this general has put in so much, to ensure that Nigeria maintains its sovereignty and peace remains in this country. Have we actually attained that? Can we judiciously say that every effort that Lagbaja put in to ensure that Nigeria is secured, is Nigeria secured? So can we now tell his family that, okay, the president actually mentioned, the chief of general staff actually mentioned that Lagbaja, he actually mentioned that Lagbaja is gone, they are here, they will carry on with the fight. Can we now convincingly assure people that Lagbaja fought a good fight and that we will now take the baton from there and continue? Do we have more Lagbajas? Are there other disciplined people that can step into those shoes? I want to believe that the answer is yes. And if the answer is yes, we want to see officers of the Nigerian Army, officers of the Nigerian Police, and other agencies step up and prove themselves to have that character and that discipline and that patriotism to put in to serve our country.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Kabiru Adamu, a word or two, tribute to General Lagbaja. He died young, less than 56, right?
Yes,
or thereabout. Yes, Dr. Kabiru Adamu. He was laid to rest, honored by the president, tributes from, generals, tributes from politicians, and of course, tributes from Nigerians.
Yes, and I think as sad as it is, it's on occasions like this that sometimes we try to remember what happened during the immediate past administration under President Buhari, where we had a similar occurrence. Then Chief of Army Staff died, and sadly, if I remember well, the then president did not honor, the burial of that Chief of Staff. Correct me if I'm wrong here. And this is we're seeing not just the president honoring, but galvanizing the entire leadership of the country to be present in the burial and giving him posthumous honor, of course, worthy of position that he held. Some analysts have indicated that perhaps because of the relationship the president had with that particular individual, that perhaps the circumstances may have been different. He wasn't so close to that person. Irrespective of the case, I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has got high in this regard compared to his predecessor. And I think the legacy that late General Tarit Lagbaja has implanted within the structure and institution is a legacy that would stay for quite a while. His predecessor, the acting chief of army staff, has indicated that he would continue with that legacy, and these are legacies around building the equipment repository of the Nigerian Army, improving on welfare, and then on interoperability between the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, as well as other security and law enforcement agencies within the country. All of these are noble goals that late Chief of Army Staff maintained. So we join in extend our condolences to the entire Nigerian Army, as well as the family of the deceased.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Kabiru Adamu. On this, and we hope God gives the family the fortitude to bear this irreparable loss. And Nigeria, of course. Yes, still, Dr. Kabiru, I'm with you. You have had and you have seen the National Security Advisor. We are now unpacking the main topic of today. Some said he appeared so hyperbolic in some of the submissions there. I don't know what is your take. Especially, let's start with the one. He said the entire security gamut of the country is working as one. Could this be true?
I mean, the security gamut can be deconstructed into, let's say, 3 layers.
Okay.
The strategic layers, the tactical layers, and the operational layers. At that very strategic layer, you have himself, the Office of the National Security Advisor. You have the ministers of defense, ministers of interior, ministers of police affairs, to an extent, minister of justice. And then the next layer, you have the strategic leadership, operational heads, like the chief of defense staff, the inspector general of police, and then the leadership of all the MDAs in security. The last time I counted them, there were about 24 of them, including the intelligence community, the DGs, SSS, DGNI, the DIA leadership, and all of that. And then at the very tactical level, you have the operational lead. So, for instance, in the Army, you have the GOEs and all of that. So it will be very interesting to get from the NSA what he meant by the entire gamut is working together. Hamza, the last time we saw the National Security Council meeting, if I remember well, it's last year or perhaps early this year. I'm very certain that the National Security Council has not sat in this quarter, both the second quarter and the third quarter that we're in. So, and then of course, if you also take it down, I doubt if the several meetings that are supposed to be held by the various security leadership are being held. So there are indicators that would tell me that the 3 C's that are necessary for jointness, that is the C's of coordination, C's of cooperation, and C's of collaboration, that we have it across these 3 levels that I've mentioned. So again, it will be interesting to hear from the NSA, let him deconstruct what he said in this manner to explain what he meant by the entire gamut actually working together. And having said that, what would be the essence of the gamut working together? It will be improved security. Malanga, we just released our report for October 2024. And the report was scary, actually, more than any time in our history. Since we've been keeping record, we recorded the highest fatalities in 1 month, which is 1,545 Nigerians being killed in 1 month. We also recorded one of the highest abductions, which is over 800 persons being abducted in one. But that's not even what is more worrisome. When we added up the figure from January to October, of fatalities, we got over 12,000. The last time we had up to that was in 2013. And in that year, you would recall, the Jamaat al-Ahlissunnah al wal Jihad, or what is called Boko Haram, was named the world's deadliest terror group. So if this trajectory maintains in November and December, where we have over 1,000, if you add it to this 12,000, it means that we're likely to have between 14 to 15,000 Nigerians being killed. And that means 2024 is likely to be the year with the highest fatalities in over a decade. So I'm a bit worried and concerned where what the NSA means by the entire gamut. If we're recording this type of occurrences, again, it will be interesting to hear him kind of deconstruct this into the layers that I've explained. The essence of security is mentioned in Section 14, subsection 2 of the Constitution. I want a situation where the person in Birnungwari that is currently crying that his territory has been taken away. I'm sure you either heard this or you recorded it. The bandits went to farms in Birnungwari and touched the farms, out of sheer wickedness, after abducting people, killing people. I want the same thing in parts of Niger State, Rafi, name them, in Zakasina, in Zamfara, in all the locations. Let's see peace and security, just like it mentioned in Section 14, subsection 2. But we're not having that. So perhaps it's important for the NSA to deconstruct that statement in a clear manner. Let's understand what he means by the government working together.
Thank you very much. Isaac, Dr. Kabiru Adamu is good with numbers. He advances his arguments with facts and figures. Now, let me give you this one. Can you travel from here to Lokoja from this hour now? Maybe just take to the street, to the road, and hit it heading to Lokoja, or from here to Akwanga, or from here to Kaduna. This is
Of course, everybody will be hesitant to do that, because of again where we are coming from. In the last 2 or 3 years, we've had situations where these roads, virtually kidnappings were happening virtually every day. But we also have to give it, to the government, particularly the security people, that these kidnappings have reduced drastically, Hamza.
But you can see the figures, Isaac, from Dr. Kabiru.
Yes. Well, those figures particularly
very scary.
They're very scary. But those are his data, right?
But nobody contested his data up till now.
I'm being particular here now.
Yes.
I'm being particular on the roads, kidnappings.
Okay.
And I believe that what is correlated there is not just limited to the roads. It involves other security issues everywhere.
Honestly,
so your question to me was on the roads.
Yes. Okay. So concentrate on the roads. So what we are saying?
Yes.
The NSA said anybody can travel to any part of the country without any fear.
Yeah, that statement is a bit ambiguous. But then, in the last 1 or 2, 3 months, how many times have we heard about issues of kidnappings on the Kaduna-Abuja highway?
That one, I agree with you.
Yes.
But then what about from here to say that you want to go to Akwanga, for instance, heading to North Central, that's Jos, and then Bauchi.
Yes, but if you look at even those roads, the level of kidnappings and insecurities attacks on that road cannot be compared to the degree, to the frequency that we had on Kaduna roads. So Kaduna road, we can decide to use Kaduna roads as a case study, or the issues in the northwest, the roads in the northwest, as a case study. And if we are going by that, we have to be fair enough to give the security people, this government, a pass mark there and pat them to go ahead and do more. But that is not to say that you will just enter your car now and begin to drive to Akwa without any fear. You will be on your own. And again, to be honest, look at the southeast now. The issues about IPOP. When last did we hear about any kind of outrageous attack?
Maybe the media is complicit. Yeah. Because I wanted to ask this question because when Dr. Kabiru Adamu, look at, he mentioned 1,520 Nigerians, and then now from January to October, 12,000, highest since 2023, and 2024 might likely be the year that will record the highest number of fatalities.
Well, Hamza, I don't believe that the media is becoming complicit.
Okay.
I just think that there are other cases, there are pockets of cases that maybe happen in the interland, in the villages, that probably stories do not come out so very fast like that. And again, what I'm about to say also shows how deep we have gone into issues about insecurity and the loss of lives. Sometimes when you hear cases about 2 people, 3 people, it seems that it doesn't have to make the media, it doesn't have to make the stories, because it is not an outrageous number, because of the frequency of what is happening. Do you understand? But what I'm trying to say here is that there are pockets of attacks that are going on.
And security operatives must rise to that.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Let me go back to Dr. Kabiru Adamu. Yes, Doctor, there is this statement, nobody dares tinubu and goes free. He was making reference to the Lakurawa, who are now terrorizing Sokoto and Kebbi states. In the first place, do you think these people are daring the president? I think they are just tormenting the poor people. They are just killing them, and then they have lorded over these people. I want to have your take. Are they daring Tinubu, or these people are daring the poor masses?
Yes, the truth of it is, Mala Hamza, you and I are not politicians, so we should focus on the issues. We have terrorist groups that have come into Nigerian territory under our very eyes. They came in first time about 6 to 8 years ago. It was the community reported to the police. The police did an investigation, released a report to say that this group is not malicious, even though that they are armed, and that the community should not worry too much about them. Now, over time, this group became radicalized. Under our very watch, watch of the Nigerian security agencies, this group became radicalized. They increased their weapon repository and then started having encounters with the local community and with the security agencies. In fact, killed security agencies under our very eyes. And today we're where we are. I don't want to be political about this.
Yeah.
This is a terrorist group. They are present in Nigeria. It was a failure of national security imperatives to allow them to come in the first place. It is also a failure of national security imperative to not have dealt with them. It will also be a failure of national security imperative if we do not carry out the necessary action. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We have 3 policies that should have prevented this group from coming. And now that they're here, that we can use against them. These 3 policies are our National Counterterrorism Strategy, which was published in 2016, the PCVE, which is a policy document on countering violent extremism, published in 2017, and then the Terrorism Prevention Prohibition Act, which was amended in 2022. These are the primary documents that should have been used by our security agencies to address this issue. And I'm sad that even after the emergence of this group and the given publicity that they have received, which is a failure of non-implementation of these 3 documents, there is a part of it that is about strategic communication. We unwittingly gave this group the prominence. Terrorists thrive on publicity, and we unwittingly allowed that publicity because we didn't use strategic communication component, and where we are now. So without politics, being political about it, we need to go back to these documents. The custodian of that document is the Office of the National Security Advisor. As a result of one of those documents, a new office was created, which is Coordinator Counter-Terrorism. That office is domiciled inside the Office of the National Security Advisor. What we saw, if you allow me to kind of do an analysis and tell you why the Lakurawa emerged, is that we did not implement these documents. Instead, we focused our attention on the Northeast. When, if we had done our strategic security provision, we should have known that the Sahel region, which has about 7 Nigerian states, almost inside, in fact, I can say they are inside the Sahel. If we had done our strategic analysis and security imperative, we would have known that it's a matter of time before groups from the Sahel start entering Nigeria. JNIM is one of them, Al-Qaeda in the greater Sahel, even though they probably would not want to come into Nigeria because there is Islamic State in West Africa province that is already in Nigeria, but in the northeast of the country. So we should have done our strategic provisioning. And now the same measures that we had implemented in the northeast, we should have implemented them in the northwest. And we should have prevented those groups from coming. And those are our security agencies that should have done that, not you and I. So without being political, the responsibility, the author of that statement, the responsibility is actually on him.
All right. Now, before we let you go, Dr. Kabiru Adamu, stories we are getting from the Northwest, especially Kebbi and Sokoto, is that this Lakurawa, they are in control. I don't want to be uncharitable to say they have taken over. Of course, but they are collecting taxes, they are removing imams, putting theirs, you know, then taking the cattle of people as zakat or whatever. What do you think government should do? Because many Nigerians believe we have another Boko Haram that has brewed and is now unleashing terror on hapless citizens.
So these three documents that I mentioned, their focus areas are 5. Like I said, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If you ask me, what we need to do is to go back to those documents, ask the custodian to implement them. I honestly don't know why over the last few years it hasn't been implemented. So it's really to ask the custodian to implement them. And the 5 components of that document, I'll quickly mention them. Number 1 is to forestall. And forestall means to stop, to prevent. So in other words, anything that is terroristic, the provisioning is there. Forestall it. The second aspect of those 3 documents is to secure. In other words, the entire 774 local government and the entire borderland that we have in the country, secure it, make sure there are no terrorist groups operating anywhere within our territorial borders. The number 3 element is to identify. If a new one is emerging, if a new one is entering, identify it. And the fourth element in those documents is to prevent. I repeat, to prevent. This thing was passed in 2016. It wasn't passed yesterday. And budgets are provided for every year for these activities that I've mentioned. In fact, they go to National Assembly to defend budgets. Persons are being paid for from different organizations for that. The last element is to implement. Okay. Implement all of the strategies and the laws that I've mentioned. So if you ask me what we need to do is to actually do the provisions in this document. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, Hamza. I only advise our National Assembly to do their work. Since the executive arm of government is perhaps a gap here and there, they should now wake up and make sure through their oversight function, they put pressure on the executive arm of government to do the right thing. I've mentioned what it is. Anyone who is listening and most of these documents are publicly available. You can get them on the website of the Office of the National Security Advisor. Download them, and I'm not inventing anything. These are things that are there. They've been there. They will still be there by tomorrow. That's the responsibility. So frankly, the National Assembly needs to use its oversight function and put a little bit of pressure on the executive arm of government to make sure these things are being done, so that we don't wake up tomorrow to see another group like JNIM in Kebbi State or any part of the Northwest. Of course, Taraba is also a concern. From Cameroon, we've seen incursion of groups coming into Taraba. Cross River, we've also seen incursion. So the national counterterrorism strategy, it's national. It's not the Northeast counterterrorism strategy. It's not the Northwest or Northern. It's a national counterterrorism strategy. We should make it national.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Kabiru Adamu, for your informed perspective on this very, very important topic. We hope to have you some other time, and bye-bye for now.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
And viewers, you now have the opportunity to call and contribute to this topic. The statements by the National Security Advisor, how the security architecture is being handled. Is it political? What is the way forward? Over to you as we wait for your calls. Yes. Now, the other debate, what I want you to comment is many Nigerians believe NSA should be soon to be working rather than talking, and they believe that it's like Riwaru likes talking, and along the way he is plopping. I don't know whether you also agree with this.
Well, Ribadu, as much as he's a security chief or he's a security personnel, is now a politician. His position, the office he's occupying was politically appointed, and so that gives him the leverage to be able to talk, to be able to express, especially some of the achievements, that his office is doing and the government is doing.
He called them tinubu gains.
He called them tinubu gains, and he's not too far from I mean, from being right to call them Tinubu games. If they happen during the Tinubu era, they are Tinubu games. And to be honest, we have to give it to this administration, this government, when it comes to insecurity. To be honest, I am a hostile environment journalist. There is nowhere that anything goes down, especially in northern Nigeria, that it will, in less than 48 hours, that it will not get to my ears. Even if I don't report it, I believe that I should hear it. The propensity to which attacks are being carried out, especially in large fatality numbers, has drastically reduced, Hamza. Since the last time that we had the issues about the mass abductions in Kaduna State, you know, when last did we hear about any mass abduction, you know, in any school abduction again in any state in Nigeria? Right? And let's also look at the southeast. When last did we hear about IPOPs enforcing their what do you call it? Their sit at home and leading to them killing people or them carrying out fatal attacks and all of that. It seems that the situation is being curtailed.
Or it's not being reported by us.
I believe,
because I'm beginning to feel guilty, to be frank with you, Isaac. We're all hostile environment journalists, but these figures, of course, I'm also aware of them. Because we keep tabs on in our newsrooms here in Daily Trust. It's scary that maybe the media is obsessed with now reporting the economy. I mean, the challenges Nigerians are facing, no food and all that, at the detriment of lives. Because if from January to October, you will lose 12,000.
12,000.
This is highest since 2013. 11 years back.
Honestly, it's outrageous, and that number is outrageous. That I will have to see. You know, I'm not doubting, but I would like to see. Yes, I would like to see. You know, to consume it. Sure. You know, to consume it for myself.
The report that I will share with you.
But where credit needs to be given, let us give them credit. If you can drive from here to Kaduna, I went to Kaduna in the last 1 month. I went like 2 or 3 times. The road is free flowing. I just came back from Jos. The road is free flowing. When last we had issues about it? But that is not to say that there are no pockets of these issues, you know, happening everywhere and in some places. And yes, you also would not persecute the media so much if their priority now is on economy.
Okay, fine.
Because that is what is in the front of that is what is disturbing everyday people every day.
Many people are also dying. Many people are not even giving the figures about people who are dying because of hunger. Viewers, we now have Major Yahaya Shinko. We tried having him through Zoom to no avail, but we now have him via the telephone. Welcome to the program, Major.
Thank you very much, Sir.
Yes, we have gone deep into the program, but I have to go back to have your take on some of the utterances of the National Security Advisor, especially when he said that the entire security architecture of in Nigeria is working as one. You're talking about the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, police, civil defense, that they are working together. Can we validate this, or you think it's actually a political statement?
Well, I think in the first place, the National Security Advisor is not supposed to be disseminating such information or giving such statement before the general public. By virtue of his office, he is the coordinator of the national security agencies, which mainly are 3. That's the Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Intelligence Agency, and State Security Service. His responsibility is to coordinate their activities and advise the president on issues related to such activities. And equally, in the course of his duties, he is supposed to disseminate information only within the cycle of the government, not for him to say things out to the general public. From the predecessors of that office, you'll understand that they hardly make statements out because by virtue of that office, it is issue preserved for the consumption of the president. That is one. Then two, as far as the coordination of the activities are concerned, if he says they are working in synergy, then that's that. Because when you talk about the Defense Intelligence Agency, you are talking about the three arms of the military. That is the armed forces, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force put together under the Chief of Defense Staff. And we have what you call the Defense Intelligence Agency. And then the National Intelligence Agency, by virtue of their own responsibility, which is in respect to any security threat that is not of the military in nature, coming from the outside of the country, it is their own responsibility to see that they curtail it and they advise the president through the security advisor on what to do. Then the DSS or the SSS, as known by name, their own is equally security issue within the internal territory of Nigeria that has to do with civil in nature. So when you put them together, by the time the National Security Advisor says there is a synergy, then he cannot be doubted by anybody, considering the fact that it is the responsibility of his office to see that they work together, they analyze, or he analyzes their reports, advise the president, and where he needs to bring them together, he convenes them together and see what they can put. And I think in that case, if he says anything in that nature, it's not out of place.
All right, Major. Now, working together is one thing, and then producing results another. You've been vocal about the Lakurawa exploits in Kebbi and
well, as far as I'm concerned about that issue of Lakurawa, in the first place, you cannot say that there is coordination within the security network, because it is not expected of some entities from out of the country to leave their own else countries to come into Nigeria, to introduce themselves into the country, decided to even make themselves as authorities in some places, chasing away some villages or replacing some imams in some mosques, while we have our security agencies that are supposed to have not even allowed them to come into the territory of the first
place. Yeah.
So after they have come in, I don't think there is anything that somebody will tell us that there is a synergy while these people are working together or what have you. From the first place, they will have blocked them out, even not to allow them to come into the territory of this country. It is a disgrace that they will come and they will be within this country for some months. They will be doing what they want to do at their own time, at their own pace, at their own volition. So if there is that coordination between the security agencies, it will have been right before their arrival. They have been curtailed, they have been stopped from coming in.
Yes, Major Isaac Abrak, who is here in the studio, and my humble self, we covered the Boko Haram crisis. And at its inception, most security chiefs, I mean, from top to bottom, they kept brushing the propensity of Boko Haram to wreak havoc. And until they now went berserk and started killing people left, right, and center. And it's like no lesson has been learned from that, because the voices, the whispers we are getting now is that Lakurawa will be crushed within 1 week, or within 5 days, or within 2 days. Do you think this is fair for the people who are receiving it?
From the Boko Haram experience, people hardly agree with the security agencies or with the National Security Advisor on this point. Because exactly as you have said, that's how it started with Boko Haram. They have always been telling people that within so days, they will curtail them, within so days, they will make sure they have done away with them. And this Lakurawa we are talking about, from some quarters, it has been made known that they have been within this country for several months or even years, only that they are now reinforcing themselves, trying to see that they have built up their number within the country so that they can achieve what they want to achieve. Considering from their air bases in the other countries, they don't longer have hold to those grounds. So in Nigeria now, I'm sure they have the idea of, we hardly take this for serious. They may likely continue to operate, and until it takes them some years before the government can decide to start doing anything against them or about them. Just exactly as it happened to the Boko Haram issue. You can see it has taken so many years now. In fact, when you count from the time of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to when we are now talking, it's more than 11 years. It's more than about 12 years. So if it will take 12 years before you can finish with Boko Haram, even now that they are still within, you can hardly tell people that that issue of Lakurawa will be taken seriously and it will be finished within 7 days or a few months. It's not about just few months. It's about the seriousness. It's about if the government is serious, they will be able to do it.
So on a final note, what will you advise the entire security architecture in respect of the Lakurawa? What should they do?
Well, it's not about the issue of the security architecture, but particularly the policies of this government. I think it is time that they will abandon all other infrastructures that have to do with the country. Let them concentrate the wealth and the strength of the government to face this issue of insecurity in the north. Once that is done, I'm sure many things will be getting right. Then they can now revert to going into infrastructure. Okay. But in the meantime, we should not forget that the issue of security is the basis of the government. So unless the government will get the security right and correctly, any other thing can come after.
Thank you very much, Major Yahaya Shinko, for your take on this problem. We hope to have you some other time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Yes, viewers, maybe one or two people will be able to say a word or two as we round up the program. But yes, Isaac, I can see you are smiling, maybe from some of the prescriptions of, yes, Major Shinko. Is it about buying equipment now or actually the security act? Because it has to do with international concern. I mean, NIA must have to rise up.
Yes.
DSS. Yes. You know, the police.
Yeah.
Because it's like they have lost control of these places. I don't want to mention the local government areas, but at the last count, almost 11 local government areas between Sokoto and Kebbi are under siege.
Yeah. I mean, Hamza, going back to Boko Haram, to the days of Boko Haram, to today, what lessons have we learned? And this is why it's embarrassing, it's saddening, you know, to hear that the same style to which Boko Haram came in march, brought in people, moved from house to house, took first of all try to make them friends, trying to make them look like we are for you, we're here for you, start providing them. Then before you know anything, they started taking this. The Lakurawa people went to those local government and tried to protect them from Fulani, from cattle rustlers, right?
Yeah.
So the people welcomed them.
Yes, and now they have changed us, and now they are taking over.
No.
Okay, we have a caller. Yes, we have a caller. Is Shamaki, irregular caller. You have 30 seconds to say something, Shamaki. Welcome to the program. Hello? Yes, Shamaki, quickly, because we are rounding up. You are always lucky to be the first caller, and most likely today you'll be the last caller. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I was trying to say, like, you see, in the history of the national security, just yesterday, he said something which let me quote. He said, insecurity, nobody gave tinubu away. Lakurawa, but at the end, it is misinterpreted. So what I'm trying to say here is that even just recently on the social media, the show came out and said, Lakurawa is more better than his predecessors. There's no comparison on that. And if you look at it, in the history of Nigeria, we only knew that it is military that are giving the ex-military that are giving the position. But the first military, this time around, it was given to a former police officer. So Lakurawa is trying his best, or she prays for him, so that when he started, he can be able to finish it at the end of everything. So this is my solution. Since I said that it's not audible,
all right.
It's audible.
All right.
That. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shamaki. You are the first and the last caller. Of course, many people made attempt to join, but the program is really rich today. Your final words.
My final word is that the president knows what to do. The vice president knows what to do. They brought in the issue about forest guard, that they were going to revitalize forest guard and ensure that forest guard keep track of the forest and secure them. The same format which the vice president used with the civilian joint task force in Borno State that rescued the city of Maiduguri from falling into the hands of Boko Haram. Now what changed? Because at some point, Hamza, the president agreed that he was going to revitalize Boko Haram.
He put it in his template.
Yes. But at what point? No, aside from
he should go back to that.
You should go back to that. And I'm saying here, except Nigeria goes back to forest guard, to ensuring that the people in the local communities are trained to be involved directly in this thing. I think we have seen it with Lakurawa.
Thank you, of course. Thank you very much, Isaac Abrak, hostile environment journalist, for coming to the program. We have to have you some other time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, earlier in the program, we had Dr. Kabiru Adamu from Beacon Consult and the lately Major Yahaya Shinko, who all join us virtually. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, and we look forward to having you next week as we come with more interesting packages of daily politics. For now, this is the end of the program. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye for now. I am Hamza Idris.